What's going on? Just hanging out at the White House, huh? Did you make it in okay? Yes. Security didn't stop you or anything? You brought your IDs, everything's okay. Are you excited? Yes. So are we. So are we. Well, welcome to the White House. We are marking the 50th anniversary of the National Endowments for the Arts and Humanities. Do you guys know anything about the history of this endowment, these endowments? I will tell you a little bit about it. But to celebrate this milestone, we've invited a group of legendary artists and songwriters to share their gifts with us and to do some really fun things with you all. You guys are budding artists, I understand. Is that true? Yes. All right, that's good, because we might have to make you leave if you're not. Just kidding, just kidding. We have Keb Mo, MC Light, Smokey Robinson, Esperanza Spalding, and Trombone Shorty. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, yeah. And they're going to be performing tonight at an important performance with a lot of fancy people and some other entertainers. I think Queen Latifah and Usher are going to be here, and Carol Burnett. But we do these fancy events at night for, like, dressed up people. But the most fun part of the day is when these entertainers take time to spend with you guys in particular. And we're just so grateful that they, in the midst of a very busy day, that they take time to come and talk to you guys, young people who want to do great things, and they're going to be spending some quality time. We also have the one and only Bob Santelli, who is from the Grammy Museum. Bob. One of the reasons we can do these kinds of events and do this workshop is because Bob has been such a phenomenal partner, a passionate partner, and he always makes it a point to make sure that these workshops happen. It's been really a pleasure to work with Bob and the Grammy Museum over the years. And in addition to the stars that we have up here on stage, we also have the most important stars in the audience, all of you guys. We have students from Manassas, Virginia, Herndon, Virginia, and Landover, Maryland. Did I get everybody? Is that right? So you guys are all young people from the area who have expressed some passion for the arts in some way, shape, or form, and we're excited to have you here, and we hope you have a great time, and we want you to relax, okay? I mean, after I leave, these guys will leave too, and then you'll be able to loosen up, but we're excited to have you here. So we hope you guys are doing okay, and you just enjoy this moment. Way back in 1965, President Johnson created the National Endowments for the Arts and the Humanities. And he did this because he wanted to promote the creativity that makes our nation so special and so unique. He wanted to support great American artists and musicians like the folks we have on stage. He also wanted to do all of this because he knew that the arts and music could inspire and enrich folks across the country, particularly young people like all of you. And that's why we wanted you all to be here today. That's why you all are hanging out in the same house, in the same room where we entertain kings and queens and, yes, even the Pope. In this very room, we hold state dinners and we do really fabulous things. And we think it's really important that you all experience this stuff here in this house, just like, you know, what you think important people are, because you all are just as important as those dignitaries that we invite here. We want to make sure that you understand that you can transition from those seats right there to these seats up here. You can do it. If we can, you can. And whether you want to be in these seats up here or any seats anywhere, you have the power and the potential to make that happen. And sometimes it takes sitting in this room to make you start dreaming about all that you can be. Because all of us up here, we're not that much different from you guys. Speaking for myself, I didn't grow up in a household with a whole lot of money. My parents didn't go to college. We didn't have a ton of resources. We didn't live in a big fancy house. This is the fanciest house I've ever lived in my entire life. Will probably always be the fanciest house I will ever live in. But I'll have to be honest with you, I never thought I would be First Lady. That wasn't even something that was in my realm of possibility. And I'm sure none of these folks up here ever dreamed that they'd be playing a concert for the President of the United States. Now, some of them have done it a couple of times, so it's probably gotten to be old hat. Smokey Robinson is here like every other day, but that's okay with me. But everyone up here had one thing in common. We believed in ourselves. That's true from the very start. I always thought I could do great things. I just needed the opportunity. And we also worked really hard. I don't think there's anyone up here who hasn't put their 120% into whatever they do. Let's take Trombone Shorty, for example. He started practicing when he was just a toddler. If you can imagine that, that's crazy. So you have to start practicing as a toddler if you're going to become a band leader when you're 6 years old, which is what he did. Esperanza was sick, and she was stuck at home for most of her elementary school. See, I love doing this because I learned so much about these guys, but she took that time that she was at home to study music, and when she was just 15, she had her first gig in a blues club at the ripe old age of 15. MC Lyte was tired of only seeing rappers who didn't look like her, so she worked hard to find her own style as a rapper. And at 17 years old, she became the first female rapper to release her own album. Yeah, pretty good. Keb' Mo', he took a little longer. Maybe he was a little slow. When his first album didn't sell, he waited almost 15 years until he released the next one. But now he is a 3-time Grammy Award winner who played at one of our presidential inaugural balls, and he is amazing. And then there is the great Smokey Robinson. Whew, let's just take a moment. Take that in. Smokey Robinson, some of you all may be too young, but no one is that young. So we have one, maybe. And well, let me tell you something about Smokey Robinson. Just listen. Back when Smokey Robinson was growing up, he was growing up in a rough part of Detroit. And he was a passionate songwriter. Wrote song after song, working hours on drafts. So by the time he was in high school, he had put together this huge book of songs that he had written, even at that age. And when he and his bandmates got this big audition with a record label, they were already ready. They had been ready. They were born ready. That's at least how the story goes. I believe it. So they walked into this audition and they played a few songs, and of course some crazy manager there wasn't impressed. He told them, "No, go on about your way. Thanks, we're not interested." What a mistake. But sitting in the back of that auditorium was a songwriter who worked at the record label, and the songwriter looked through Smokey's book, and he thought the stuff was pretty good. It happened that this songwriter was Berry Gordy, and I don't know if you know anything about Berry Gordy. He created a company called Motown. Yeah. And that made Smokey Robinson and the Miracles some of the biggest stars in the world. That's just the short version of their story. There is a Broadway musical about the whole thing that I would advise you to go check out. Today, Smokey has dozens of top 40 hits. Songs you probably don't even know he's written are his. You're probably humming them. They are everywhere. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and as Smokey says, these are his words. He says, "You just had to be ready to work. You had to be ready to work and to compete." And that's true for everyone on the stage. Everyone worked hard, whether that meant rapping until their throats were sore, or going through dozens of drafts of songs, or going through practices and scales until your fingers are raw. so that when that big break came, they were ready. And that same principle holds true for everything you all will do. And that's something we just want to emphasize. You don't get here without a lot of hard work. And that starts in school, you know. I know teachers tell you this, your parents tell you this, now we're going to tell you this. It takes a lot of time to perfect any craft. Writing, mathematics, it takes doing it over and over and over again. And failure is a part of that whole process. Failure and rejection. Everyone up here has failed big and been rejected over and over again. But you just learn to pick yourself up, and the quicker and more resilient you become, the better you are. So you don't want to push off failure or rejection. You don't want to reject rejection. It's part of the process. You just want to ask yourself, where did I go wrong, and how do I improve? So, speaking of getting better and improving, that's exactly what we want to do with you guys today. We've got a special treat. Bob is going to talk to you a little bit about the history of songwriting, and then we're going to break you guys into small groups where you get to spend some intimate time with these artists who are going to work with you to compose some songs of your own. So you're going to get one-on-one attention with these masters up here. Do you know how many people would give anything to get the opportunity you're about to have here at the White House? So are you ready for this? Yes. All right, so what I want you all to do is I want you to be loose and relaxed in this whole process. Get the most that you can. So you can't be nervous through it, okay? And I want you to ask questions, okay? Don't be afraid. The whole point is you got to open up your mouth and make your voice heard. Ask questions. Take advantage of this opportunity, okay? Don't be shy, all right? Now's not the time to be shy. And listen. As much as you can, listen to the advice. And don't talk about music, but talk about life. Talk about your dreams and how you get where you want to go. Because these folks have done some amazing things, and they're willing to share some of their most intimate secrets with you guys, all right? But most of all, I want you to have fun. I hope this is a day that you will remember for the rest of your lives. And when you hit a bump or a hurdle, that you think about the words you'll hear today, that we believe in you, that you're just like us, and that you can make this happen for yourselves, no matter what you decide to do, all right? I'm gonna leave so you guys can get this done, and I am just so proud of you and happy to have you in our home. So have fun, okay? All right, take care.
Okay, wow. How about one more round of applause for the First Lady? You know, for many years, actually since the President Carter administration, there has been concerts here at the White House, and even before that as well, but this concept called In Performance at the White House has been going on for a very long time. But what is new to it is this program. And this program was created by the First Lady. And as she has said, the Grammy Museum, we've been here almost a dozen times now celebrating all kinds of American music, from jazz and blues and soul and the music of the civil rights era. And that's her idea, her concept, to bring kids like you to the White House to hear her words, to hear the words of these great artists behind me and many others who have been on this stage as well. It has been a wonderful, wonderful experience. Today, however, we're going to do something, as the First Lady said, a little bit differently. In the past, you just sat and listened, got a chance to ask some questions. This time around, you're going to actually participate, okay? And I'm going to explain what that means in just a minute. But before I do, let me explain to you why we're here and what exactly, if we're not celebrating jazz or blues or folk music or music of the civil rights era, then what are we celebrating? What are we talking about? The theme for this particular workshop is American creativity. American creativity. What do I mean when I say someone's really creative, or that person's creative, or that artist is creative? What do we mean? What does creativity mean to you? Anybody? What does it mean? Yeah. Different ideas that haven't been brought up. Good. What else? That's right. Expressing how they feel, but doing it in their own way, their own unique way. Anyone else contribute to that definition? Okay. Well, when you consider, as a nation, the creativity that has come out of our country, and not just in the arts, but in science, in technology, in literature, in business, all of these particular parts of our lives necessitate creativity. And from creativity comes innovation. And when innovation happens, and happens in a right way, our lives are improved. They're dramatically improved. There's more meaning to them. The standard of living goes up. But it takes a nation of creative people to make that happen. Now today, of course, we're talking about the arts, in particular music. But I could be standing up here, or someone else could be standing up here and talking about the creative aspects of American business or American technology. And we know all about technology. All we do is take out our cell phones, our smartphones, or look around anywhere. American ingenuity and creativity has its fingerprints all over it. But in the arts, particularly in American music, that's where it's so very, very easy for American creativity to shine. And the reason why I can say that with certainty is all you have to do is travel. And some of you perhaps have been to other countries, and as you grow older, you will. And you might go to the Philippines, and you can hear American blues. You might go to Argentina and hear American jazz. You might go to China and hear hip-hop. You might go to Russia and hear country music. We have such a tremendous wealth of music in our country, all kinds. We are one of the most musical cultures on the planet, and have been since we've been a nation. So much so that we create it and we export it like a product. We actually export it to other countries, and they embrace it. And what they do is what they should do. They make it their own, okay? If you looked at the 20th century, if we go back a century, and think about all the great music forms that Americans have created, it's astonishing. No other country can come close to us when it comes to the creation of music forms in the 20th century. And our artists up here represent just a handful of them, whether it's jazz or classical music, Esperanza Spalding, or R&B, and certainly soul music and Motown with Smokey, Keb' with blues, MC Lyte with hip-hop, Trombone Shorty with jazz, particularly New Orleans jazz. But we don't have country up here, we don't have folk up here. We'd have to have 3 rows of people just to represent the music forms that we as a nation created in just the 20th century. And it's not just secular music or pop music, because there's such a thing called gospel that has profoundly impacted us as a nation, and we have given that to other nations as well. So it is a real celebration of American creativity that we are dealing with today. And it's just the tip of the iceberg, right? Just the tip of the iceberg. Now, if someone said to me, okay, well, where did this whole thing come from? How did we get to be that way? Well, there's two very simple, but really complex reasons. The simple answer is what I'll give you, because it would take too long to go into the complex reason. But basically, we are a nation of immigrants. We all come from somewhere else. Our families, our heritage, we came from somewhere, and we brought with us our grandparents, great-grandparents, perhaps parents, perhaps you came from another country where there was an established culture and music, and you brought something of that home country culture with you, and you put it into this big pot we call American culture, and you added your own ingredients, whether you are from Italy, as my parents are from, or Africa, or England, or Ireland, or Asia, wherever. You brought something, your people brought something to this nation, which makes us a great nation, because we're a people of many. And that makes us strong. That makes our music strong. And the second most important thing is we have freedom. And the freedom that we have, the freedom to create. Unfortunately, not every person who's creative, who lives on this planet, has the freedom to create. But we have that freedom. We have the ability to express ourselves. We have the ability to define ourselves by our music or our literature or our poetry or our films or whatever it might be. That is a gift that we hold dear. And in this house, that's extremely, extremely important. So when you think of the immigrant culture that we have in this country and our freedom, you put that together, it's not surprising that we have such an amazing music tradition, along with the other arts as well. Now, let's think about this for a second, because as I told you, my guests here, my friends, all represent American music, and they all are very, very creative people. What I want to do now is I want to turn it to them a little bit. I'm going to ask them a question or two, and maybe you can ask a question or two. We're not going to spend too much time on this because we want you to be creative today as well, as the First Lady said. But just talk about the creative process and how you go about being creative in your particular music form. Trombone Shorty, if you would, you know, the First Lady had mentioned that you get started at such an incredible early age. Some people hardly know their names or where they come from, and here you are, you're playing an instrument and you are expressing yourself at such an early age. How did that happen?
Just growing up in the city of New Orleans, we're surrounded by great musicians 24 hours a day. You know, growing up, there's a jazz funeral when I was walking to elementary school. When I come back home, there's another brass band marching around the community where I grew up in Treme neighborhood. So it was just all music, and my brothers and my family all play, and it was just natural for me to pick up some type of instrument and play and improvise and march through the streets of New Orleans and just have all those great musicians giving me great information to be able to base that off. So when you're in a city like that, I think we wake up and go to sleep creating music, you know. So it's just an incredible place that I was blessed to be able to grow up in and have that opportunity to be a fan of music and a student of music.
And you were, like you say, you were blessed to be in one of the great music cities in America, New Orleans, where music was all around you.
Yeah, definitely, all around me. Even now, when I get off the plane, there's some kids at the bus stop practicing their drumsticks on their math books or whatever it may be. Some kids playing some horns, and I stop and play with them sometime, or they teach me some things. It's just that type of community that we have there.
Yeah, nice. MC Lyte, of course, you, as the First Lady has said, you know, you made history, made hip-hop history, if you will, because before you came along, it seemed like hip-hop was going exclusively male. It just seemed like it was a male means of expression. And then you come along and you add the female point of view. And that took some taking. So sometimes creativity means to climb obstacles. Explain that.
Well, I would first have to say Salt and Pepper,
Yeah.
you know, were definitely influencers of mine. And once I had heard them, that's when I believed as a young girl I had a voice worth listening to, and I certainly had something to say. I'm not quite sure if I was aware of the obstacles at that age, which is good for you all to be unaware of the obstacles. Just do what you have to do and get it done. And I think, 17 is when the record came out, but many of my rhymes that I had in my book, I wrote when I was 12. So it was really lyrics that were recorded in when I was 17, but they had been written many years earlier.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Cab, you of course, as the First Lady said, late to the game, but not really. Late to the game, perhaps, of recording, but music had always been a part of your life as well.
Yes, I got started out in the schools. They had music in the schools, and I started playing trumpet in the 5th grade. So that was my introduction to music. I had a very interesting journey from there on because I changed schools the next year, and then they actually kicked me out of the band because they said my grades weren't good enough. I was devastated. I was really devastated. But so I was always followed by, I could tell you the story along with it, I was always followed by music. Then I started playing steel drums. After that, it was on my block, there was a steel drum. Then I got a guitar at 12, and then so on and so on and so on and so on. So I always played, I got gigs. And as far as aspirations to do something greater than what I could think of, I never had that aspiration until I got older. Yeah. But I just loved to play. So when I got older, I started reading a lot about how to change your mind, how to get your mind right for success. So I did that, and then when I was almost 40, I got a record deal, which was too late, you know. It was really way too late, but you know, being my mind had shifted to where I didn't believe those things anymore.
That's right.
So I was able to ascend, even though, you know, this all logic said it was too late. So, but that can happen at any age. Like for MC at 17, it doesn't matter what age. It can be
That's
90,
right.
it can be 6, it can be 10. It's up to you.
Smokey, like Troy, you grew up in a city where there was all kinds of musical creativity happening all around you. The late 50s in Detroit and early 60s. I remember you telling me stories of, you know, Aretha Franklin living down the street and just the Temptations and the Four Tops. So much musical creativity at a young age. Where did that come from and how did you fit in?
Well, first of all, I was really blessed to grow up in a home where we always had music. And everything, every type of music was represented there. We had gut bucket blues, gospel, jazz, classical. I actually had 2 older sisters, and my 2 sisters and my mom played music all day, all the time. And so it's all I can remember from the time I could hear. And I always wanted to be a part of that. I didn't think growing up where I grew up that it would be possible, but it turns out that it was, and I was in pursuit of it all my life. I had alternatives though, because I always felt like my first and foremost job and effort should be towards school, and I was very active in my school life, and I always got good marks. And it's very important, and I always, I mean, I played sports in school too, but I always got good marks. And where I grew up, it was hard to even concentrate on school. You had to want to, and I wanted to. And I tell young people that all the time, you know, your first and foremost job is to get an education because it helps. No matter what field you go off into, no matter what your aspirations are, what you want to do with your life, your first and foremost job right now especially is to get an education and to concentrate on doing that. And especially for guys, you know, I know the guys under a lot of pressure a lot of times about getting good marks in school, because especially if you grew up where I grew up, because I grew up in the hood, and a lot of guys I grew up were robbing people and doing all kinds of stuff. But I still wanted to get good marks in school, and I did, and it was very important. But I always wanted to do music. That was my first and foremost dream. I am blessed enough to have gotten the chance to live my dream. And all of you in here have dreams. And I just say to you, pursue them, because nothing is impossible. Or whatever you aspire to do, if you give it your 1,000% effort, and it's been said in here today, you know, show business especially is a job of peaks and valleys, and ups and downs, and yes and no, and there's a lot of no's. So if you really love it, if you really, really, really love it, and you can withstand the no and the down times, then I say to you, pursue it, because it's a great life. I mean, I can't think of anything I'd rather do with my life, or I'd rather have done with my life, other than living my dream, which is this. So you all got dreams, and just pursue them and give them your best shot.
Esperanza, I'm sure you had a dream as well, an early dream, and your dream takes you to a different kind of music than perhaps some of our colleagues here, and sometimes a more challenging one in terms of intensity and learned and the theory behind music. Talk about how you get in your dream and how you make that dream a reality.
Well, the music that I primarily play, improvised music, jazz music, I didn't like, actually, when I heard it. I thought it was weird and too intense and just sounded like mess. And then I got to play the bass, and I felt what it was like to create language in real time with other people. And it's like nothing that you can explain. It was like magic happening. And that feeling of playing an instrument and hearing that the person playing with me is playing something new because of what I played, and it made me play something new because of what they played, I just got totally excited. Mm-hmm. And that made me want to study the theory and made me listen differently. And I liked the people. I mean, that's half of the awesomeness of this life. It's cool people. They were the coolest people I'd ever met, these musicians and these writers and instrumentalists and singers. And I wanted to hang with them and have something to say and contribute. Open-mindedness, and just everybody knew about film and art, and so open to culture, and that kept me in it too. So the hard work that sometimes feels awful and not very fun, and you want to do other stuff and be on Facebook and watch TV, the hard work and the little bit of, I would say, sacrifice seemed like nothing in comparison to how fun and filling and exciting being able to play better and better was. So that's what I experienced.
You know, sometimes, yeah, go ahead, Simone.
I want to say to you guys that I realize that in a lot of areas, especially, I have actually spoken to Congress about 3 times about the arts being in the schools, because even though I grew up in the hood, you know, we still had arts programs in our schools at that time. Yeah. And we kids could go to school and take music courses and acting and dance or whatever they wanted to do, because the arts were in the schools. And I don't know if the arts are in all of your schools that are represented here today, but in many schools, especially the inner city schools, the arts programs have been cut out and have been stopped. They say that they can't afford to have them. But if that is your dream, if that's something that you really want to do, don't let that stop you.
Yeah. You've heard from the artist, and now you're going to work with the artist. So here's what we have in mind. Each artist here represents a different form of American music. You represent a cross-section of young potential artists out there, a new generation, at least for today. We're going to put you into groups, all right? Each group will have one of the artists up here as your mentor. You're going to break up in these groups for about 12 or 15 minutes or so. So it's not a whole lot of time. But during that time, you are going to be asked to create. Create as a group, okay? Don't waste time, because at the end of the 15 minutes, we're going to see what you have created. This is a golden opportunity. No school kids have ever done this before at the White House. You're the first. So if this works, we're going to do it again, but you're the guinea pigs. You've got to come through. And what that means essentially is each person will do something with this artist. Speak up, be aggressive, and then I'm going to pick one artist or one of you or a couple of you to come up and then demonstrate what it is that you created in this short period of time. Okay? So here's the way it's going to go. With Keb Mo, a blues musician, the group that's with Keb Mo will write a blues song. And Keb Mo will walk you through it, and you'll do your best to put something together quickly. And then you'll come up, and we'll see what it sounds like. With Smokey is one of the most famous songwriters of all time when it comes to love songs. So you are going to have to write a love song. And he's not going to help you too much, because then it would be automatically great. You're going to have to do it yourself, right? So you're going to work on it. So you need to come up with an idea very quickly. Come up with an idea that allows you to create a story, because all great love songs, like all great songs, have stories. And you're going to have to create that. And we'll put together a verse or two just to see how well you do. When it comes to MC Lyte, you're going to write some rhymes, okay? And MC Lyte will take you through the process. But the challenge, the creative challenge, is still the same. You got to come up with something good. It's got to rhyme. It's got to have soul to it and feeling to it. So you're just as much a challenge as the others. The group that will be with Esperanza, and Trombone Shorty, you have a different kind of assignment. Instead of being songwriters, you're going to be producers. Your job is to give Trombone Shorty and Esperanza an idea, a very detailed idea about a particular story within the framework of music. And then it will be Esperanza and Trombone Shorty's assignment to interpret what you have come up with in their music. So they're going to teach you about one of the most creative things that you can do in music, and that's the art of improvisation, creating right on the spot. So they'll take what you come up with, and then Esperanza on her bass and Troy on his horn will then interpret your creative impulses. Everybody understand that? Everybody get the assignment? You heard the First Lady. Don't be shy. Let us know that you're creative. Golden opportunity. You will get a chance to perform at the White House and go home and not lie about it. Okay? You say, I wrote a song and I performed at the White House. That's pretty good. Pretty good cred. Okay? So here's how it goes. All right, let's see. So, stage is here. So this is, group 1 is over here. You're with Trombone Shorty. Okay, Troy, if you want to take them to that room over there, that's where we'll go. Okay. Group number, let's see, 4. That's you. You're with Smokey Robinson. Okay? All right. Group number, this group right here, you're with MC Light. Okay? This group over here, let's see here. Where am I? 1, 2, 3. Esperanza Spalding is over here. And then the remaining group right over here, this group will be with Keb Mo. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if you'll take your respective groups. Okay, so Kevin, you're over here. Yeah, you'll break into groups. You can mess up the chairs. Don't worry about it. But we're on the clock, guys. Get going. Right here, right here, right here. That's it, right here. We're right over here. Your group is right over here. Where did she go? Hold on a sec. Kev, over here? Okay. Over here. Yeah. Light. We have a whiteboard there, so if you want to put some notes on the board there, you can do that. We'll bring that over. Yep, we'll go get that. Kevin, we'll have a whiteboard there if you want to use that for anything over there to write something. You got it? Okay, and Esperanza, you have the use of that if you want. If you want to make some notes, you can just lift that up and bring that in there. Okay. Keb's group.
Wayne, I'm going to take you around if that's all right. Just like closer shots, maybe an MOS. If we can, I don't have any sound. I think don't worry about it. We'll just get all right, I'll just go. We can just go walk around. If you want to stay here or if you want to go with me, whatever you want to do. They said you can walk with me. I'm going to get a closer shot of just going around the group.
Does anyone want to go in the red room and just for a couple minutes to get some B-roll in there? That group? We took a couple at a time.
What's in the red room? Trombone Shorty. Yeah.
Sorted by school, or are we all in groups? You need me to escort you though, so hold on one second.
Can I take my tripod or should I take it?
If you're just hopping it down, you're not adjusting, yes, but if you're gonna adjust, I wouldn't take it.
You want to stick around for the rest? Yeah. Sweet. Thank you.
You ready? Okay.
I got it.
Do you want to stay? You staying? Yeah.
Give me a long time.
Thanks.
Yeah. What time's the break? What time's the break?
All right, everyone, finish up. We're almost ready to hear what you've written, so another 30 seconds or so, okay? Got it. And then, if you can ask the sound people, I'll give them the mic, hand them the mic, because if not, then we won't get it. Okay, but they're not gonna. right, everyone. Can I have your attention, please? Workshop is officially closed. Now it's time to hear what you've come up with. So if I can have all of the groups, if you would turn your chairs around, don't rearrange them, just turn them around and have them face the stage, please. And then if someone could let Trombone Shorty know to bring his group in. I'm going to see, and if you want to, yeah, we'll do it. You guys want to go first? Why don't you come on up here? Yeah. Go ahead. Okay, as Trombone Shorty's group is coming in, let's just quickly summarize what we've done. All right, this was a group effort and creativity. Sometimes songs take months, sometimes years to write. You had 14 minutes, all right? So we're not expecting all that much, but we are expecting some passion for the project and some effort. And I know because you have been mentored by some of the greatest names in American music, I'm sure it's going to turn out just fine. So the plan basically is just to share with your fellow students and with the mentors what you have come up with. So the hope is I'm going to turn it over to each mentor, and you'll decide who you want to come up and how you want to do it. So Light, since you're up here, why don't we deal with your group first?
Okay, absolutely. My group are all musicians, and so this was a dive into another spectrum for them, but they did extremely well. They all participated, and we built a song here from a title, Notes of Love.
Okay.
And so we are electing this young lady, and your name is again? Sammy. She is going to, should we swivel this around?
Yeah, whatever you need to do.
Yes, yes.
Tell us what school you're from.
I'm from Herndon Middle School.
Okay.
Do we want to use this mic? Yeah? Okay. Okay, we need the group. You ready?
Notes up and down, oh so sweet, they always follow the same old beat. I hear them in my head, they're moving, make you feel just like grooving. The rhythm beats so smoothly. The notes and the words will always move me. Makes me think of my love across the sea. The words you send bring you close to me.
Oh, when he comes home to me. Oh, when he comes home to me.
Oh, when he comes home to me. Our true love will always be.
All right, let's hear some blues with Kev Mo. Come on.
You borrow your stand? All right. Okay, so now I got the Spartans. They're awesome. They're awesome. So first thing I said, like they said, because you guys want to write the blues? So we said, we don't have to write the blues. So the first thing we learn about is bucking the system. You don't have to do what people say. You'll run into the blues eventually. Don't worry about it. It'll be all right. But anyway, we have our singer. What's your name? Katie and Nathan. Nathan. You got together. A little sound check there. Here we go. The name of the song is Love Hit You Like a Truck.
A little bit because I'm really short. Thank you. Ready?
You count it down.
No, just go.
It's 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. I'm just a girl too much pain. If love hits you like a truck, I guess I'm out of luck. Maybe things are looking up, but for now, I guess love hits me like a truck.
Okay, Esperanza. How about the other Spartans here? Shall we? All right.
What we did is we came up with a story and we wrote some melodic themes to represent the main part of the story. So our story takes place on Mount Everest and it's wintertime and it's also Halloween time. So it starts with some candy, but then there's a rumbling noise and an avalanche happens and it takes all the food we were gonna eat for dinner. So we have to huddle to keep warm as friends. And then we remember we have our saved Halloween candy and we eat that, so it's a happy ending. So our themes, I actually have no idea what I'm gonna do, but the themes are, the scary part is la 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 la, right? Okay, and Friends is la da da da, okay. And what was the other one? Oh, food is la 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 la, and Friends are la 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 la. Okay, so let's, I don't know. Anyway. Okay, I think we can do this.
How about Smokey's group?
Okay, our song is called For You. And what's your name, honey? Caitlin. Caitlin is going to sing it. What's your name? Desiree. Caitlin and Desiree are going to sing it.
Okay. It wasn't as if the sun rode against the moon. We had only met last June. Have left you so soon, so I wrote this tune for you.
Okay, finally, Trombone Shorties group.
So we decided to get a little funkier for y'all. And hopefully we can pull it off, but I think it's really fun. Some ideas that they came up with, going home from school, wanting to play the video games, but having something else serious to do, like practicing a homework or whatever it may be. So we'll try it.
That was great, guys. All right. Wow, that was amazing. That was amazing. So, I'm not quite ready to give out any Grammys yet, okay? Not yet, but you're on your way. You're all on your way, absolutely. And thank you for our wonderful teachers and mentors. Kids, how about a hand for all your teachers here, huh? Wow. Well, you might be future Grammy winners, but what I'd like to do is bring up a multi-Grammy winner. We're going to end today with a little song. I'm going to ask Keb Mo to come on up on stage and play a little blues for us, if you don't mind, Keb. All right.
Oh yeah, I'll take all the help I can get. Esperanza, Shorty. Yeah. All right. We're gonna do a couple of verses of this, some blues, and two cars, 3 kids, 6 phones. Stay there. Whole lot of confusion up here in my home. Stay there. 500 channels on the TV screen. 500 versions of the same old thing. Y'all know that's crazy. Well, they about to drive me insane. When I ain't nobody trying to be nobody's Superman, I just want to go somewhere, use my hands, keep it simple. You know, I called my doctor on the telephone. The lines were open, there was nobody home. Press 1, press 2, press pound, press 3. Why can't somebody just pick up the phone and talk to me? Hey, y'all know that's crazy. Well, they about to drive me insane. Well, now I'm not trying to be a Superman. Just want to go somewhere and use my hands and keep it simple. Hit it, shorty. I went down to the local coffee store. The menu went from the ceiling all the way down to the floor. Decaf, cappuccino, or latte, said the cashier. I said, look, give me a small cup of coffee and let me get the hell up out of here. Yeah, y'all know that's crazy. Well, they about to drive me insane. You know, I'm not trying to be a Superman. I just want to go somewhere and keep it simple. Thank you. Esperanza Spalding, trombone shorty.
Thank you for participating, being good sports. Hopefully you learned something about creativity. You had a once-in-a-lifetime moment working with Smokey Robinson on a song, and Kev Moe, trombone shorty Esperanza, Spalding, MC Light. It's been a wonderful first-time experience. You helped create history here at the White House. We thank you so much. And before we end, how about a really loud round of applause for the First Lady for allowing us to be here. Okay, thank you again. We'll see you next time, but good sports, guys. Grammys down the road. All right, we'll see you.